The strapline that I use for Stages of Change Limited is From Ambivalence to Action. And this is actually quite important for trainers to understand, because understanding where their clients are on the change spectrum will definitely impact the way you should be working with that client. So when you've got a client that's very much psychologically ready to go, it's more a case of supporting their autonomy, building their competence, educating them, so on. If you've got a client, however, that's quite ambivalent about change, and I know that sounds a bit odd, but you will get people employ you as a trainer because outwardly they've got some belief that you've got a magic solution, and in fact you really haven't. But in terms of their underlying psychology, they don't really believe they can be successful. And if you were to measure this using psychometric testing, it would highlight that your client is maybe a contemplator, so they're kind of weighing up pros and cons. They may be in preparation and they may even be in action. But if you understand where they are, it very much indicates what type of approach you should be taking with this client. If a client is ambivalent about change, they're kind of on the fence, it would be a mistake to jump straight into training, giving them the PAR-Q, doing the fitness assessment, starting the nutritional analysis. Your time would be much better invested consulting with that client, finding out about where they're at. So this is what in motivational interviewing we call it engaging. So it's really kind of discovering what's going on. Part of that engaging process, you'll most probably get a lot of your answers to your PAR-Q anyway. So by the time you've done a good engagement with a client, you could most probably fill out the PAR-Q yourself, because you'll kind of you should have a lot of the answers. But it's so important to understand where they are in this initial stage. And then once you understand where they are, especially if you've tested them and it's showing they're ambivalent, now you're in a position to start helping them move forward. And the first thing we need to get very clear about is where their focus is at. If the client's just saying, oh, I need to lose weight, that is actually quite a big statement in terms of what needs to change. I mean, is it nutritional? Is it exercise stroke activity? Is it social support? Is it environment? Is it cost? There's weight loss or weight management actually comes with a whole number of caveats tied to it, and unpicking where all these are is really important. So the focusing process is quite important, because then you can tie down where the primary goals should be. So you can see that what we're trying to do here is basically this ambivalent client is coming to you, and you can think of them as a puzzle, a jigsaw puzzle, and all the pieces are in the box. And what you're doing with this engagement and then moving into focusing is slowly putting the puzzle together. By the end of the focusing process, you should have a clear idea where the client wants to go, and that's quite important. It's where the client wants to go, not where you think they should go. And this respecting the autonomy throughout the whole process is so key to long-term success. We now move into what you would call the evoking stage. And so what we're doing now is we're using questioning to get them to think about why they need to change, what needs to change, what are their reasons for change, how could they go about it. And we're listening to all these, and part of the skill is giving that information back to the client so they start to hear their own words. And what we're basically getting them to do at this point is we've kind of put the puzzle together, but now we're getting them to see the bigger picture. And then hopefully at the end of this point, when we've got enough of this, what we would call change talk, we can now move into the planning stage. Now, for some clients, you will go through those processes really quickly. But for others, it's really important that you get a very clear understanding of where they are. And this might sound like, oh yeah, but the client just wants to get into training and what have you. Trust me, it's an investment at this point in the process to get this full understanding and this proper engagement with the client. You can think of it as you are building the foundations for what is going to come. And if you'd have jumped straight into PAR-Q fitness test, away we go, you might be on quite shaky foundations. And if any part of that ongoing process they don't quite like, they don't quite enjoy, that might be enough of a reason for them to kind of just drop out of your program. Whereas if you've formed nice strong foundations through the engaging, focusing, evoking process, there's a fair chance they'll stay with the program, maybe question you a bit about it, but at least now you're properly engaged with the client. So don't be too keen to jump straight in there. Make sure you get real good engagement with the client, and part of your kind of sign up process should well be, most probably, apart from when they find you through social media, your website, or however it is they find it, just invest a bit of time having a telephone conversation with them. If we're in the current environment, I would suggest Zoom is perfect for this. And then hopefully moving forward as things progress, this can be a one-to-one conversation. But that conversation can be powerful, invaluable, and most probably will improve your chances of signing up a client, because they feel that you've kind of shown them that you've got empathy for their situation. So, as I say, the key is, how do I move my client from ambivalence into action? And some of the steps I've outlined there are actually really important in this process. I hope you found that helpful. If you do want to chat more about this, you can always book a quick chat with me online. Happy to have a chat and kind of talk through where your problems, where your needs might be. Okay, thanks for listening.